Welcome to sportsbookreview.com. I'm Flash, and it's the Bundesliga. It's that time of the week again, and I've got a great guest for you today, and it's not the man on the right, Alex. Alex is always there. He gives you more winners than losers. But Derek Rae, he's a voice of FIFA 19, voice of FIFA 20, commentating on the Bundesliga since I was a little boy. Some would say that it was before I was even born. Derek, how are you, sir? And welcome.
I'm very well. Thank you for the invitation, specifically to talk about, as you said, one of the great loves of my life, the Bundesliga.
And how did it come about?
Well, I'm from Aberdeen in the northeast of Scotland, and if you know your geography, Hamburg is on the other side of the North Sea, so to speak, a little bit south, but there's a direct link between Aberdeen and Hamburg radio-wise. So I grew up listening to German radio, and I was a keen German student and obviously a keen football fan and somebody who wanted to be a commentator. So I was able to sort of marry everything together. And, you know, I would listen to the Bundesliga on the radio. This is going back to the late 70s, early 80s. And here we are today. Now everybody wants to know about the Bundesliga, given the lockdown and the fact that it was the first league back.
Yeah, and they won't be upset by it as well, because there's goals in nearly every single game, and you've got absolute class as well. Do you have a favourite side?
I do. I have a soft spot for Koln, and this goes back to when I first started going to the stadium in Germany. There's just something lovable about the whole city, about the community, about the way people are. It's described as the most beautiful city in Germany, but it's not an aesthetic beauty. It's all about joie de vivre. It's all about Koln. It's a feeling more than anything else. You can tell that I'm a Koln fan of long standing.
Yeah, well, I've been a Cologne fan for a while as well, and they've lost every time I've said that they'll win, so it's Cologne. And then finally I went against them at Hoffenheim, and I was quite happy with that. But they were entertaining. And obviously, we've got in England, we've got a lot of affiliation with Cologne because of players that have gone across there and done so well. Alex, how was your weekend, sir?
It was a great weekend. Thank you again. Crashed Bundesliga. We're waiting for another profitable weekend, this one. But yes, about Köln, I have some relatives too in Köln. I visited them many times, and is exactly like Derek is saying. I felt there at home because we are Latin. We are a Latin country where I'm coming from, you know. And Germany are not a Latin country, but when you go to Köln, it feels like you are at home, you know, because exactly the joy of life, the great football, also aesthetic. I find Köln a very nice city, a very interesting city. I was also to some interesting clubs up there. The people were very friendly. So yeah, I can give it to Köln. I was also on their river with a boat. Very interesting. I loved the atmosphere there in Köln. The beer, most important. I love beer, and you know that in Germany they have one of the best beers in the world. Many brands, not only one.
I knew you was going to say many brands. Let's get the housekeeping out of the way. Please subscribe, thumbs up, show your appreciation to this video, and we'll notify you, and you will never miss any content. And also, if you press the link in the description, that will take you to Alex's article where he is flying with his parlays. Profit City. So just go over there. And it's not just Alex, not just Bundesliga, not just soccer. There's plenty sports, plenty articles by plenty different writers. Now we're going to crack straight on to the Friday night game. We've got Freiburg at plus 350, draw plus 310, and Gladbach at minus 120. How do you see this game, Derek?
Well, Freiburg have been struggling, especially in home games going back over some time. Borussia Mönchengladbach returns from the layoff looking magnificent. That first game back against Eintracht Frankfurt, everybody was sort of extolling their virtues, saying, you know, this might be one of the form teams in Germany the rest of the way. They play a sort of a power game. They call it Project Power, the Power Project, under Marco Rose. They've totally changed their style this season. They've gone from a possession-based style to much more pressing and counter-attacking. And one of the best front fours in Germany, if you want to call it that, when they're all playing. Alassane Plea, Marcus Thuram, we saw them excel in the last game. Patrick Herrmann having one of his best ever seasons, and Breel Embolo when he's fit. I would normally say that Freiburg at home could be a sticky proposition for a team like Gladbach, But Freiburg, really one of these clubs to have found it quite difficult since coming back. And they do rely on their southwestern stronghold. They're going to be moving into a new stadium in time, hopefully sooner rather than later. But Gladbach, for all that they've had their ups and downs, you think about the defeat they suffered at the hands of Leverkusen, they draw against Werder Bremen away, and they probably weren't the better team on that particular day. I think Gladbach will win this, but I'm going to say by a goal, not necessarily going away. So 2-1 or something of that nature.
Yeah, 2-1. Well, that brings in the old Alex classic, Derek, of both teams to score and over 2.5 goals. Alex, we've got a bit of a trend of the away teams winning, and this doesn't seem to be looking to change on Friday night.
Love the knowledge. I must say that I'm very impressed. This is what we want. This is the content we are here for. This is why we're watching the Bundesliga shows and all our shows at SBR, because all our guests are very knowledgeable. And most of all, Derek, that he used to commentate Bundesliga, and I'm sure that he will commentate once again. And he knows about the players. He knows how they are playing. He knows about the teams. He's watching basically Bundesliga like I am. That every weekend and week out, I'm watching all 9 games, and I know them by heart. And yes, Alassane Plea and Marcus Thuram are a deadly duo. I can say that. And when they catch a good day, they can score at least 2-3 goals on their own together. Freiburg, very poor, very poor. I don't understand what is happening right now there. They were outplayed by Leverkusen last week. They had no chance of... they had one chance, but you cannot give them that. Only one chance in a football game, one shot on the goal is nothing. Also, Leverkusen had one shot on goal, but they pressed, they dominated the match, they imposed the rhythm. This is what we want to see. And Gladbach, Marco Rose's Gladbach is the same kind of team. They are pressing. They are trying to start strong and to score fast in the game to make their life easier. So again, I'm very sad that Brel Embolo is not playing again. He is one of my favorite players in Bundesliga. But the deadly duo in front, I think that they should do the job done. They should get the job done once again at 1.8 for a Gladbach win, for an away win. And yes, the trend is our friend with the away win. Away sides should take points once again during this round.
I think Freiburg's biggest problem was that they had too many points before the break, and they've come back and have not really put their foot back down on the pedal. And once you do that, you can't turn it on and off like a tap. They're all cliches, but with Freiburg, the intensity is not there. And if you haven't got it in this league, you are going to come up second best in most weeks. So away win, Mönchengladbach, -120. Let's go to the best game of the weekend. And it's Leverkusen at +550, draw +420. And Bayern at -200. I'm going to come to you again, Derek. Away win in the first game. Is it away win again in the second?
Well, I commentated on that first game, the one you referenced, when Leverkusen went to the Allianz Arena and stunned everybody. They did it with a counter-attacking performance, didn't have a lot of the ball. The interesting thing about these two teams is that they are 1 and 2 in terms of possession in the Bundesliga. So Leverkusen, normally you would say, close to Bayern in terms of their ability to keep the ball. The other thing about Leverkusen is that, and it's a very interesting combination, this, for all that they excel in terms of keeping the ball, nobody does better as far as the running stats are concerned. So Peter Bosz has got himself something quite special, quite unique there with Leverkusen. But it often comes down to individual quality where Bayern are concerned. And I think we've seen that since the teams have come back, that Bayern just have players in their ranks, and it can be a different player every time to turn on the style. Joshua Kimmich, obviously, in the big game against Borussia Dortmund. It could be Alphonso Davies in another match. It could just as likely be Robert Lewandowski. So I'm looking here at the individual quality of Bayern probably being too much for Leverkusen, although I expect it to be a cracking game. If it were under normal circumstances with fans inside the stadium, I might be tempted to go for the draw, but I think Bayern will have a little bit too much, and I'm inclined to think about 2-1, similar to the previous game in Freiburg, 2-1 to Bayern.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can look past Bayern because, yes, they've got quality, yes, they've got depth, but the biggest thing they've got is a hunger in their work rate, Alex. I love the way that Bayern are so hungry. They know that the title's theirs, and yet they still work harder than any other group of players in the Bundesliga. And I like Bayern -1, Alex.
I don't know if it will be -1. I don't think that they will destroy Leverkusen on the road because they could have done it also against Dortmund and they didn't. You know that I like Leverkusen and I like also them one by one as players. And Werler, for example, said about Kai Havertz that his contract is expiring in 2020, but he's sure that during the summer break, many top clubs will put a lot of money on the table for Kai Havertz. And not only Kai Havertz, we have Volland back in the squad, we have Demir Bay, we have a lot of talent inside the team. But it's very strange because, like Derek said, Leverkusen love the same way of tactic. They like to control the ball. They like to control the match. But in this match against Bayern Munich, Bayern will be the one who will control the ball, and the fast players of Leverkusen will try to go on the break and catch Bayern with less defenders on their half and take advantage of that and score. So yeah, if you can go. Also, Bayern is trying to break some records right now on points. I think that 101 points it was the previous, or 100 points it was the previous. No, goal scored. Sorry, goal scored, not points. 86 they have now. So I think that they are trying to score as many goals as possible. Also, many people are saying that Robert Lewandowski is trying to beat Gerd Müller's 40 goals in one season record, but I think that is not doable because he just has 29 goals right now with 5 rounds to go. He must be in top shape to score and to arrive at that level, but that would be impressive for Robert Lewandowski, one of the best, maybe the best striker in Europe at the given moment. Yeah, I'm seeing goals. I'm seeing goals, and I'm going over 3.5 goals on the Asian handicap. So we must see at least 4 goals in the match at 1.8. And let's not forget that in 5 of the last 6 head-to-heads across all competitions, we've seen at least 4 goals with Bayern to win. So if you like Bayern to win in a combination between over 2.5 goals and Bayern to win, I think that it should give you around 1.8 again. But me, just over 3.5.
Okay, well, that's at the top of the league. Let's go to the bottom because we've got Frankfurt at -104, draw +280, and Mainz at 275. Derek, it's a horrible game, this, because Frankfurt, 32 chances a few weeks ago, and they just missed chance after chance after chance. And this is a game that they must win.
Yeah, it's a local derby, this match. Frankfurt and Mainz close to each other geographically. I was actually at the earlier meeting of the two teams in Mainz when the home side came back from an early setback to win the game. I think that things are getting a bit desperate for Mainz, and they're a funny team. They're quite a hard team to gauge because they can do certain things very well. They're a very fit team under Achim Bayerlotzer, who came into the job having been in charge of Koln for the first few weeks of the campaign. That didn't go well at all. A better fit with Mainz, but just floundering a bit and moving very close to that relegation zone. Eintracht Frankfurt, I think as we speak now, have enough about them to be safe. We're talking ahead of their game, the Wednesday game against Werder Bremen. But come the weekend, we'll see exactly what the state of affairs will be with regard to Eintracht Frankfurt and Adi Hütter. They had that run of 6 matches without a win. And then that crazy game against Freiburg that finished 3-3. And they had 35 attempts in that game. 13 saves made by Alexander Schwolo, the goalkeeper of Freiburg. And then the victory not many were predicting against Wolfsburg away from home. Frankfurt at their best are a pressing team. They're quite robust. They're quite physical. The same could be said of Mainz. So there might be a lot of matching each other in this game. I just think that the trend is moving to be more Frankfurt's friend at the moment. I'm a little bit concerned about Mainz. They normally do enough to stay up by the skin of their teeth, but I'm beginning to be concerned about them preserving their top flight status, just given how congested it is now at the wrong end of the table. So I think Eintracht Frankfurt will win this, and I think they'll do so without conceding a goal.
Wow, there you go. Frankfurt win to 0. I mean, just Frankfurt just to win is good enough. Don't complicate it. Alex, we're looking at a home win. That bucks the trend. You're on mute, Alex. Alex, why'd you mute yourself?
I'm sorry. Imagine, Derek said that we are recording this before Werder Bremen versus Eintracht Frankfurt.
Yeah.
Very important game today, as I think that is starting in 2 hours. So imagine Werder Bremen to win this match and to pass Mainz in the standings. Mainz to go to the playoffs relegation spot and Düsseldorf to go in 17th. This is like a must win for Mainz if they want to stay up. Of course, also Eintracht, European club, if you think about it, but very, very poor this season, and mostly in the second part of the season. With 4 points in their last 2 matches, they are a little bit relaxed right now, because before those 2 matches, they were very stressed of going down, and I think that they found a little bit of top form. Some of the players, I'm not telling about all of them, but I really like this Mainz side. Eintracht, let's not forget that the win against Wolfsburg was a little bit lucky. Yes, football or soccer, how our American friends are saying, is played with goals. So as many goals you score, you know. But Wolfsburg dominated the match. They created a lot of opportunities. Eintracht Frankfurt scored 2 goals with 3 shots on target. That was brilliant for Eintracht. I think that it will be that kind of match that we will see a lot of goals from both sides. Mainz desperate for points. Eintracht better in terms of shape right now. So I'm predicting an Alex Classic, both teams to score and over 2.5 goals in the match at 1.8.
1.8, and just remember, Frankfurt, they won because I was on Wolfsburg. That's simple as that. Don't even complicate it. Flash goes to Wolfsburg, just go with blind man, we just go with the opposition. Okay, here's one of our favourite sides, and it's Fortuna Düsseldorf at plus 187, draw plus 250, and Hoffenheim at plus 154. Apart from defensive display last week, they've showed good spirit under Juve roster, Derek.
They have. I think he has improved them. Friedhelm Funkel was the coach before, an absolute legend in Düsseldorf, but they decided that they had to go in a different direction, really to save themselves. And Uwe Rösler certainly has tightened them up. They are much more difficult to play against, although Bayern did thrash them, but Bayern can do that to anybody. So I think we sort of disregard that when we try to assess Fortuna Düsseldorf. I mean, they do have players in the side who can damage the opposition. I often look to Ruven Hennings, who is so experienced and has the know-how in attack. Kenan Karaman, who has been in a rich vein of form. Hoffenheim are one of those teams that I find very, very hard to read. I do my own little predictor competition every week, and I invariably get their scores wrong because they can be up one week and down the next. And that really has been the pattern under Alfred Schröder. Just signs recently that they are getting things right. Lutz Pfannenstiel, the sporting director of Fortuna Düsseldorf, just on his way out. He was previously with Hoffenheim. It's going to be a special game for him, even though he's not part of the Düsseldorf scene anymore. I am looking at this one as maybe the hardest one to call of the entire weekend, but it's more of a sort of a gut feeling, and it has to do with Christoph Baumgartner, how well he's playing, the sort of the individual quality, again, of Hoffenheim. And I think in the absence of a real home advantage, I am taking Hoffenheim to nick this with the pressure off them, all the pressure on Fortuna Düsseldorf. We've spoken a bit about Werder Bremen, given what they are doing, what they could be doing this weekend. My feeling is Hoffenheim to win.
Yeah, listen, it's a brave man that picks this. I often say that all three outcomes are possible, and this definitely comes across in this game. Alex, I see goals, and I'm cheering on Uwe Rosler. Obviously, he used to play in the Premier League, because he wants them to go down. If they're going to get beat, they're going to be the best second you've ever seen.
For the exact the same reasons of Derek, I will not touch the winners market. I think that it's risky to touch the winners market. Anyone can win this match. We can see also a draw in this one. But let's not forget that Düsseldorf are fighting relegation. And let's not forget that how badly as they are, because I mean, I don't like them. I don't like them as a team. Exactly like Derek said, they are hard to predict. And I don't like their style in general. I think that you expect them to play something and they always surprise you. I don't know. I hate this Hoffenheim team, to be honest. But they are still fighting for that European spot. They are equal on points with Wolfsburg, and impressive 7 points won in their last 7 matches. I should give them that to them. I didn't expect them to arrive here. So two teams fighting for two different objectives. Düsseldorf, who are fighting for relegation, and Hoffenheim for fighting for a European spot. Over 2.5 goals at 1.72. I think that this is an outcome that should come in 95%.
Yeah, okay, I think Alex Classic is probably, but I mean, you're looking at Fortuna at plus 187, got everything to play for. I just feel as if that's great value. Now, let's move on to a side that scored bundles of goals away from home, have been struggling at home. We've got RB Leipzig at minus 600, the draw plus 790, and Paderborn, cannon fodder for the Bundesliga, at plus 2,000, Derek.
Yeah, I don't really give Paderborn much of a chance in this game. You're right to say that Leipzig have been better away from home since the restart than they have been at home. But I think this is the game that'll see them return to being the Leipzig that we've come to know and respect. Julian Nagelsmann, their coach, charged with the task of really changing them a bit this season. In their DNA is a counter-pressing team, maybe the best counter-pressing team in the Bundesliga the last 2 or 3 years. But he has the job of trying to make them more complete, to make them a better team in possession. They sometimes can live up to that, at other times less so. And they have been disappointing a bit in the 2 home games since the restart against Freiburg and against Hertha. Nagelsmann was particularly unhappy with the performance against Hertha. But we've seen in the away matches versus Mainz and versus Koln just exactly how they can fire. And the great thing about Leipzig is you can have 3 or 4 players out injured. It doesn't much matter. They have a huge squad now. They have adequate replacements who can come in and do a similar job. Pick out the stars. It's a bit like Bayern. It can be different in every game. It could be Patrick Schick in one game. It could, of course, be Timo Werner in another. Somebody like Emil Forsberg, one of the pioneers as they were coming up the divisions, doesn't always get a look in now because you have Christopher Nkunku and others there. Paderborn really are the bargain basement club in the Bundesliga. They're proud of that. They're not about a project or anything at all. It's just about trying to provide good football for the locals. And if it's in the top flight, great. They did back-to-back promotions, as you'll recall, but they were thrashed by Dortmund in the end. They tired towards the end of that game. And much as I really respect Stefan Baumgart and the team and what they've done, I think the end is nigh in terms of Paderborn being a top-flight club, certainly for this season. And I would expect Leipzig to win, and to win well.
Yeah, I think they'll win very comfortably. Alex, how do we find the value, though? Because I look at the way that Paderborn set up. They had to go for 20, 25 minutes. Then all of a sudden they were too square, they were too leggy. And if there's one team that likes to play a little give and go around the edge of your 18-yard box and get the ball across the 6-yard box, it's Leipzig.
I mean, Leipzig are the best counter-attack team. A goal from Timo Werner with a pass from the goalkeeper Gulaci. I think that this is the most good example, the best example for this characteristic of RB Leipzig. Loved them against RB Leipzig, but they missed. Timo Werner, I think that he missed 3 more opportunities alone with the goalkeeper to score. So they should have destroyed Köln, if you ask me. Yes, Paderborn are down. They, in my book, they are already in Zweite Bundesliga. So I don't see them good in this match. Timo Werner, Schick, Dani Olmo. Very impressed with him last match. He finally broke the ice, scoring 1 goal. He's a great player, but he needs more time to adapt in Bundesliga. He's an excellent, talented player. Yeah, I think that in 2-3 rounds from now on, we'll see a different face of Dani Olmo. Very combinative, very talented and fast. Good with assists. I think that we'll see a lot of assists next season from Dani Olmo. Let's see what RB Leipzig will see next season, because Liverpool might take Timo Werner right now. I don't know who will remain in this squad, but Nagelsmann is a absolutely amazing coach for Europe in general, not only for Bundesliga. So I'm going with 2 bets here. I'm going strong with RB Leipzig minus 2.5 on the Asian handicap. So they must win by 3 goals at plus 104, or in European odds 2.04. I think that Paderborn cannot really play, cannot stop RB Leipzig from scoring. If you remember against Dortmund didn't didn't impress in the first half. But with RB Leipzig is different. They are going strong from the beginning, and this is what you must love about them, you know. So, and also the second one is RB Leipzig to win 2-0 at 2.2. I think that Paderborn will not find the back of the net, and I think that this bet has a lot of value.
Yeah, know your players, because I'd already wrote down when you were talking, I'm going, he's going for RB Leipzig to win 2-0. And the good thing about RB, that they can go down the channels, they can counter-attack, but they also like the intricate passing in midfield, and you give them 2 boys plenty of time on the ball. They will carve you open, as I say, the little 1-2s around the edge of the box. And another little bet I would say is the most goals to be scored in the second half when Paderborn again run out of gas, because you chase that ball the way that RB Leipzig like to keep it.
1.6, not big, 1.6.
But a winner's a winner, Alex, and if you're sitting in my shoes, man with no shoes should weep for man with no feet. Okay, let's move on. I think this could be a trap. Dortmund minus 2.57, draw plus 450, and Hertha at plus 730. Of all the lower teams outside the top 5 or 6, Hertha, they are the team, Derek.
They're the form team. They have been revitalised by Bruno Labbadia, their coach, their 4th coach of the season. And this is the remarkable thing about Hertha. It had been a trouble-torn campaign, one problem after another. You know, coming into the restart, I think a lot of people thought, you know, they are going to have their work cut out for them just to stay above water. If things go the wrong way right off the bat, they played Hoffenheim in their first game right off the bat, then, you know, who knows? We could be talking about Hertha still in a relegation battle, but they have done just about everything right. And that is a real tribute to Bruno Labbadia, getting the best out of experienced players such as Vedad Ibisevic in attack, and younger flair players such as Mateus Cunha, the Brazilian, very talented, very dynamic, injured as we speak right now. But Hertha, with a 4-2-3-1 formation, pretty compact, pretty organised, almost sort of belt and braces, back to basics for Hertha, and that has done the trick so far. Now, they play a Borussia Dortmund side still with something to shoot for, and that, of course, is second place if you can't get first, but also Champions League football. It's not a guarantee for Borussia Dortmund, even though they are the favourites. But one of those teams in the upper echelon is going to miss out. I'm talking about Dortmund, Gladbach, Leverkusen, and Leipzig. So for one of those teams, there won't be Champions League football. It would be tempting to think that Hertha are going to continue this trend, but I think Borussia Dortmund are sufficiently motivated, and I think they have enough skill about them to edge this. I don't think it'll be winning by a cricket score or anything like that. I think there'll be goals in the game. I think there'll be chances for Hertha in the game. But I think Borussia Dortmund, given what they still have to make sure they achieve this season, will take the 3 points.
I'm going against Derek here, Alex, and I think that Hertha a double chance. So Hertha and the draw is going to be massive value. I think the Alex classic of both teams to score an over 2.5. I've got that nagging feeling about Dortmund. You know they want to disappoint you, and they've been getting over the line. Okay, they beat Paderborn, but listen, I could put a team in the car park that beat Paderborn at the minute. So I'm going to go with Hertha double chance, Alex.
I'm going Hertha plus 1.5 at 1.91. So they can lose, but not more than 1 goal difference. And I'm going also with the Alex Classic at 1.83, both teams to score and the over 2.5 goals in the match. Cunha is not even doubtful. He's a little bit... injured right now, but Bruno Labbadia declared that he will be 100% fit for this Dortmund clash. So hopefully we will have him. Let's not forget about Christoph Piontek, who scored 2 goals in his last in back-to-back matches. Let's not forget that I love this guy, Dedrick Boyata, the Belgium rock-solid defender. Nobody can pass him since Bundesliga resumed. I think that this is a brilliant side, and I'm really happy that they will finish in top 10. And our future bet on Hertha Berlin, we talked in January, I think, about it at 3.5 or at 4. We predicted Hertha to finish in top 10. Here they are. I think that 5 points above 10th place right now. Very relaxed. And I think that they might even pull off the upset here. As Derek said, it's very important to know, yes, that 4 teams are fighting for free spots, free Champions League spots, and it's very, very close between Dortmund in 2nd place and Leverkusen in 5th place. We just have 4 points, so it will be a really intense final of the season, 5 matches. But I still think that Hertha will not lose more with more than 1 goal difference.
No, I like it. I really like it. I think Hertha, they've took the bull by the horns and they're saying, listen, we're going to have a proper go. And they've been rewarded. I mean, it does help when you play against Union and put your nearest neighbours to the sword by scoring 4. OK, let's move on. Bremen, 7 points from the last 9 at plus 250. Draw, plus 245. And Wolfsburg, I can't get right at plus 20. Now, Bremen, 7 from 9 points. Could well be 10 from 12, Derek, if they get the job done against Frankfurt.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people were writing off Werder Bremen not very long ago. But yeah, you were one of them. Well, I must admit, I had my doubts about them. And even, club legend like Rune Bratzett, great player from the past, thought that it wasn't going to happen under Florian Kohfeldt. But he had confidence in himself, young coach, very bright, very well spoken. And, 7 points out of a possible 9 from the games against Freiburg, Gladbach and Schalke. And we're talking again ahead of this crucial game versus Eintracht Frankfurt. Bremen have found something, and I never believed they were as bad as their record might indicate. I always felt that they had enough quality in their ranks when you have people like Milot Rashica. Admittedly, hasn't had the best second half of the season, but he's a player with his dribbling, with his ability to open up a defence, with his ability to score, who can do it for you. And in recent games, Leonardo Bittencourt is the man who has sort of picked up the baton and has been the man for goals from outside the box. We've seen that against Freiburg and also against Schalke. And the defence has really solidified. That's been a big key for them. I always think that Milos Veljkovic is somebody you can count on when the going gets tough. So I agree with you on Wolfsburg. They're a very hard team to read. But there is something about Bremen at the moment that makes me think that they have the inner strength to be able to not only avoid automatic relegation, but also the playoff, which goes to the team finishing 16th because of the situation in terms of the teams above them. So I say Bremen won't lose this game.
No, I mean, the draw looks like the obvious one. And if Bremen are going to get anything out of this game, Alex, they've got to make sure they stay tight, because you go and play against Wolfsburg side, you overcommit. Wolfsburg, it's like that. Oh, my word, we love to hit you on the counter-attack. So I think we're both edging towards a draw, Alex.
Yeah, it's not out of the question, the draw here. And they just announced that both Rashica and Bittencourt are ready to play tonight for in the match against Eintracht Frankfurt. Hopefully they will not get injured, and hopefully they will not be forced to play more and get injured for this Wolfsburg match. But Wolfsburg are a dangerous side. They are a powerful side. They have a good attack. Yes, Werder Bremen, rock solid in their last 3 matches, kept 3 clean sheets in a row. But again, against Schalke, anyone can beat Schalke right now. I mean, anyone can beat Schalke right now. There is no doubt about that. I said that Werder will win. They won. And here we go. Next, I will say that Union Berlin will win. But that is tricky also against Schalke. But we will be back on that one. I'm going for the overs. I think that Werder will have something to fight for. And I think that Wolfsburg are trying to secure that 6th position in the standings. Overs for me. Over 2.5 goals at 1.95. Almost even money, imagine.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's going to be one of those where both teams are going to want to go for it. And I think if Bremen playing to Wolfsburg's hands, then we're going to see plenty of goals. Let's go to 2 of the worst sides on current form. And it's Union at plus 150, the draw at plus 230. And Schalke, everyone's disappointment, at plus 212, Derek.
Yeah, 2 teams whose confidence is at a low ebb, I think you have to say. And Alex has spoken there about Schalke and their woes. And it just has been an awful run for Schalke, maybe the worst run that many of us can remember. And I've been watching Schalke for, how many decades? About 4 decades. And yeah, they've been relegated before, but I can't remember a run quite like this, a morale-sapping run. And David Wagner has tried many different things. He's not helped, of course, when you don't have 2 key players like Amin Harit and Suat Serdar. So you're sort of down to bare bones. And we saw in the game against Bremen last week that they just had nothing, that they had absolutely nothing to offer. They were so passive. And I think that's the most worrying thing, especially when you play a team like Union, who are limited technically in comparison with other sides in the Bundesliga, but they usually know how to go about their business without the ball, and they normally are good value when it comes to delivering set plays. Christopher Trimmel with the deliveries and Sebastian Andersson with the headed goals. He has more headed goals than any player in the Bundesliga this season, 7 now after his contribution against Gladbach in the last game. So looking at this, it's 2 teams who are definitely not in form. Schalke don't really need the points because they are going to stay up, but they're such a big club and they carry this weight of expectation, and you can see that weight is really kind of playing on the minds of the players at the moment. Union need a few more points. Again, a bit like Mainz, I would worry that, if they don't get a point or 2 from this game and the next week, then, they could still find themselves in trouble. I'm tempted to look at this as a draw, just because I really can't separate them. Union, you might think, okay, they're at home, but home advantage hasn't counted for very much at all. They do put in that shift that we spoke about, whereas Schalke have sort of been almost motionless, almost without energy. I don't see the run ending for Schalke. I think a draw is what I would go for if you put me up against a wall to make one decision or another.
Yeah, it's just one of them games, Derek, because I look at David Wagner's DNA, and it's anything but passive. It's all about work rate. It's all about teamwork. But I think it's just Schalke had enough points, and they've just basically down tools, and they're just going to limp over the line and just roll on next season, Alex.
I mean, he worked with Jurgen Klopp. How to be passive? How to say about Wagner that he is passive? Never. But he doesn't have with whom to play. He doesn't have a number 9. He doesn't have a player to score goals. Nothing. That goal they scored against Düsseldorf, that was lucky. So imagine that without that goal, they would have failed to find the back of the net in 4 consecutive defeats. The 4 defeats in 4 matches since Bundesliga return. This is awful for Leipzig. And yes, anyone can beat them. But Union Berlin, I mean, they are the team with better chances to win this match. But I have to go with exactly the same bet. You know me that I'm not a draw fan, but I have to take it at 3.3. I was about to say both teams to score no at 1.95 because I don't know, but one of them will not find the back of the net. Yeah, I think that the draw has value at 3.3 in this one.
And maybe under 2.5 goals as well. And obviously, it brings in your 0-0,
yes.
your 1-0s if you want to go that way. Now, we've saved the best to last for our favoured guest today. And we've got Augsburg at plus 175, draw plus 250, and Koln at plus 160. A big smile for you, Derek.
Big smile. Always that way when I talk about Koln. Even though we haven't really been smiling since the teams have come back following the layoff. And it's difficult to know, to put your finger on exactly what's gone wrong. Some have said, it's the lack of a crowd because they do feed off the crowd at the Rhein-Energiestadion. The energy has been missing from Köln's game. They've played in fits and starts. They've had decent spells in each of their matches. They just haven't really put in a 90-minute performance. You think back to the Mainz game when they were in charge. They let a 2-0 lead slip. The Düsseldorf derby when they were 2-0 down and then suddenly came back right at the end to get 2-2. Hoffenheim game when I actually thought they played quite well, but somehow lost 3-1. It's just been all over the shop. Leipzig, I didn't really expect them to take anything from that game, and they didn't. This time, I think they are in with a chance. I would say this, obviously, and it's going to be difficult if John Cordoba is out for the weekend, who, is inspirational for them, and they can be very direct with Cordoba. And they're very good, Köln, in terms of scoring from set plays and headed goals. And that can be down to Cordoba as well as Mark Uth for them. Augsburg under Heiko Herrlich, again, just sort of need a point or two, but I think I have confidence that they are going to stay up, Augsburg, when all is said and done. But do I have confidence for them in this game? Well, as I said, I am going to say that I think Köln will break out of their little slump and win this game away from home.
Yeah, my one word, I was right at the very beginning, because obviously I've been with Cologne so many times, and it's disjointed. Obviously, my job was to read games. It was scout the opposition, and I look at them and think, God, you've got everything. You have got everything you want to go and beat sides. But then they would only do it for 20 minutes, take their foot off the gas, and they're 1-0 behind, then they're playing catch-up. Alex, I think both teams to score, no, could be the way to go.
No. I don't think that. I think that we'll see a draw game. I think that Augsburg are rather closing the games at home. Cologne, the better side in terms of attacking. Cordoba missing with Modeste in. I loved Modeste in the last part against RB Leipzig, despite that huge miss in the last minute of the game when he could have made it 4-3, and the last 5 minutes would be on fire for them. He was one-on-one with Gulaci, and oh my God, how he lost that opportunity. So I have like that. I have over 2.5 goals in the match at 1.75. I have a draw at 3.5, and I have Modeste to be anytime goal scorer at 3.6, because with Cordoba out, I think that he will be the striker to watch in this one.
Okay, Alex, can you give me a little rundown of all your bets, please?
Yes, absolutely. Gladbach to win at 1.8 against Freiburg. Leverkusen, Bayern Munich over 3.5 goals at 1.8. Düsseldorf, Hoffenheim over 2.5 goals at 1.72. Eintracht, Mainz, both teams to score and over 2.5 at 1.8. RB Leipzig to win 2-0 at 2.2, but also RB Leipzig minus 2.5 on the Asian handicap at 2.04. Hertha plus 1.5 on the Asian handicap at 1.91 against Dortmund, but also both teams to score and over 2.5 at 1.83. Werder Wolfsburg over 2.5 goals at 1.95. Draw in Union Berlin versus Schalke at 3.3. Draw in Augsburg versus Köln at 3.5. Over 2.5 at 1.75. And Modeste anytime goal scorer at 3.6.
And your banker?
Oh my God, yeah, my banker. My banker, to be honest, I think that it should be
You don't
Dortmund,
have to have
Hertha,
one.
both teams to score and over 2.5 in Dortmund, Hertha at 1.83. Both teams to score and over 2.5. Yes.
Okay, let's just get back to that housekeeping. Please subscribe, press your thumbs up if you've appreciated this video as much as I have, and ring the bell, and then we'll let you know whenever there's any content. You will not miss anything again. Press the article there. You can see what Alex has wrote. Maybe his parlay will come in for maybe a third out of the last 4 weeks if I'm doing him a disjustice. But I must say a massive thank you to the master, that's Derek Rae, and his apprentice, that is Alex. Thank you very much, gentlemen. I've really enjoyed it, and good luck this weekend.
Thank you,
Thank you
and
for
it
having
was
me.
a pleasure.
Yeah, the pleasure's been all yours, Alex. So that's Derek Rae and Alex going through your Bundesliga games. Looking forward to next week already. Let's hope we see plenty goals and plenty entertainment. You take care.